Yeah, it's first off, I'd like to give all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashma, Kakodash, the banners to the apostles, great stone. Shalom to you, brothers out there, pushing the word of the Lord in sincerity, in all honesty, and in all truth. You know, keep bringing out those prophecies. You know, seeing even more so that the time we're living in is a marvelous time where prophecy is concerned, right? And you know, you still have, you know, them other camps out there, you know, talking all kind of nonsense. I don't remember the name of the group, you know. I don't usually not too in tune with them, but I don't remember the name of the group. But they were talking about the CHIP, right? And you know, digital currency and so forth. You know, and they basically don't know anything about it. You know, based on how they were speaking, right? They don't know anything about it. You know, they are not apt in that specific category. But you see, the thing is, it just got to show you, you know, the spirit of these men, right? Where prophecies and watching is concerned, right? Because if they were watching any at all, then, you know, if they're watching what's going on, you know, they would know about these things. Because look at it, you know, the apostles, you know, and I can talk about, you know, Apostle Tahar. They've been talking about, you know, the MOTB being that seed for quite some time now, right? And when we came in the truth, you know, that's how we learned it. And it's been a minute, so I'm just saying that, you know, these men, they really they're not interested, or maybe they would rather just to back up, you know, against the word of the Lord more than anything else. And then again, you know, they could be sellouts, right? That's why they don't want to speak on it. They could just be sellouts, you know, trying to keep that hush so that the congregation can take it, right? So and with that said, maybe they don't have any faith, right? Or believe, you know, in how Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? And what he's going to bring. Because how could you know that, you know, this is the mark that the scripture talk about, and at the same time you're not, you know, saying that so people can know, you know, as a prophet, as a mouthpiece of the Lord, quote unquote, you know, to make people to make people rather, you know, move far from it, right? Or know what's going on. But you see, you will find that them other groups, you know, them rather talk about, some of them talk about coming together, you know, and as one, right? Some of them just don't speak prophecies because the truth is they're comfortable. They're comfortable as they are, right? And you know, would like for everything to continue as it is, right? They don't truly want to come out of this kingdom. They don't want to leave Babylon behind, right? Because if you want to leave Babylon behind, you'll be sighing and crying for the abominations here. You'll be talking about, you know, unifying and making your own communities and so forth and stuff like that. Yeah, that means you have your own agenda, because that is not what the precept said. Right? That is not what the precept talk about. So obviously you have your own agenda. Right? This is Jeremiah 28 and verse 8. It said, the prophets that have been before me and before thee have all prophesied both against many countries and against kingdoms, of war, of evil, and of pestilence. Right? And that is what we're doing. So out here in the islands, they call us doomsday preachers. The Prime Minister. You know, people say when we talk, they fear. They become afraid. Yeah, and you're supposed to be afraid. Right? Because of the vengeance that the Lord is going to bring upon this place. You're supposed to be afraid. Yeah, you should fear. Right? You should be concerned. Right? Because the things about to come upon earth. Right? All the Lord promised to this place is destruction. And it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. All of what's gonna come, it's not gonna be in one day. It's gonna be a process. Just like, look for example right now with what's going on in the Middle East. Right? You think people not dying daily? people dying daily, right? Look what happened in Ukraine. You think people not dying? I mean, no, if things probably slow down and people not dying daily in Ukraine, but before, you know, a lot of people died in Ukraine. You know, soldiers from all over, even from the US, NATO, Russia, Ukraine, right? You think what's a play thing going on over there? No, what I wanted to do, you know, because most people on this side of the planet, and you find that even men professing Israel, you know, they get caught in that same sneer, that sneer mindset, where they think that, oh, what's going on there doesn't affect us, or you know, we have nothing to do with that. But what you should do is use what's going on over there as an example to yourselves. Use an example, because it could be happening over here, right? Think about all those people that have been misplaced, people that have become refugees and have to be fleeing to other countries, living in tents, right? Or on the roadside, or in people's garages or whatever, if they got lucky, you know, to be invited to someone's garage, right? But think about those people. No, think about that happening on a planetary scale, where everyone is affected. Think about that. Think about your precious US. You know, being one of the grounds of the war. Think about that. What would you do in the US? What would you do? You know, battles being fought in the cities, tanks and planes flying over, bombs dropping, destroying buildings. What would you do? Think about that. And even you out here in the aisle. You know, we out here in the aisle. These people out here, they have this thing that they can take the worst situation and turn it into fun. Into all fun and games. You know, these people are crazy. Right, but hey, back to you men that call themselves teachers. It said, the prophet which prophesied peace, when the words of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord truly said him. Now, because the Lord, whenever I say the Lord said prophet, is always prophesy is judgment, right? And every time the Lord said a prophet, the prophet comes and a prophet warns of any impending, you know, judgment that the Lord is going to bring upon wherever, right? And the reason why we're here in these numbers, right? The reason why we bring up this information is because the Lord has prescribed judgment for this kingdom, right? A destruction for this kingdom, and it's going to come, and we're going to continue to prophesy, right? Because that is what we've been sent to do. We are doing nothing else other than what the prophets of the olden days have done. So you're not going to hear us prophesy peace. The only peace we're going to have is after the kingdom of the Lord is being set up. When the kingdom of Yahshua is set up, kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Yahweh Shemel Shai, then we shall have peace. But until then, no peace. The Lord said, I come not to send peace on earth, but a sword. Right? So that is what you should expect, because that's what's happening. You know, jumping back to where I started off, talking about the MOTB, right, being that CHIP. Now, what you have to understand is, you know, all nations right now are in the process, or we call it pilot process. Most nations, I did look up something and I can read for you from the Google chat. Right, but most nations right now, every nation is preparing their own. Now there are 3 nations. 3. Let me just go to the article, or to the chat. So this says, as of July 2025, 3 countries or unions have fully launched a central bank digital currency, CBDC. While 137 countries, respectively 90% of the globe, are exploring them, meaning, you know, that they're in the beginning stages. The full launch digital currencies include Bahamas, Sandala, Jamaica, Samdek, Jamdex, and Nigeria, e-Naira. Another 49 countries are in advanced pilot stages. So 49 countries, advanced pilot stages. Right, so they're testing it out. Jamaica did their pilot stage, I think about 5 years ago. Right? Yeah, we can't too follow our prime minister, because he's trying to please the white man so far up his ass. You know, you can't follow him. Right? It's either he knows or he don't know. At this point, I think he knows, but he thinks he's gonna benefit, but that's what's prescribed for you. That's not what the scripture has prescribed for you. The scripture said, you make I can get it, you make a covenant with death and with hell, as you are, and with hell are you are with hell are you at agreement. I'm gonna get it, Charlie. But you know, that's where we are, right? That is the ushering in of that MOTB. You know, these men, you hear them say things like the MOTB is, you know, sin white women and all kind of colorful things, right? All in the guise to shadow what it actually is, right? As I said, whether they sell out, whether they don't believe, right? It's just whether it's a spirit of deception is on them, right? An evil spirit from the Lord, whichever it is. The truth, you're not talking the right thing, and the right thing is just that this is from that the MOTB is that implanted device so just to clarify, because maybe I said something that mix up my viewers or anybody who's watching. I'm not saying that CBDC is the MOTB. I'm saying the CBDC is part of the MOTB system. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the CBDC as a currency in relation to the MOTB is because the scripture specifically said, "He shall not be able to buy or sell, free and bond, rich and poor. It won't be able to buy or sell." And what they're going to use with that MOTB to do trading is them CBDCs, right? It's going to be a digital currency that's used, that can be operated from your implantable device. So that's the reason I'm saying that. I'm not saying the CBDC is the MOTB. That's not what I'm saying. The MOTB is the implantable device. And following? Good. Right, so y'all can out there, you can talk, it's madness, right? But as the scripture said, art said, the visions from appointed time at the end it shall speak and not lie. So that time is coming where it's going to be evident that, hey, this is it. This wasn't all along. And I don't know what you're going to tell, what you're going to tell your congregation then. They might just as well have some of your heads for your deception. Yeah, but that's where we are. That's where we are in prophecy. Right? That right now, that is being unfolded. It's being unfolded. If you look around the infrastructure, you can look in the States, right? You have a lot of self-checkout cashier spots in the States, from Walmart all the way around to Home Depot, right? It's self-cash out. Right, and soon enough, the self-cash out, we're just walking through. In 2007, IBM released a commercial showing you how you would cash out things in the future. You just legit pick up what you want and walk through, and you just scan your implantable while you walk through and deduct the funds. And that from about 2007, 2008, 2009, somewhere there. You know. Who know, you know, somewhere there. But it just imagine how far ahead the technology is now. Them self-checkout with cards, that's primitive technology. Them technology been, as I said, been around from before 2010. So you can just imagine now, you know, how much more advanced that is. Hey, y'all in for such a big surprise. Y'all in for such a big surprise. Y'all think, you know, everything's gonna continue as they were, you know, until you die and the next generation come and they die, next generation come and they die. No, that's not how it's gonna happen, right? Believe it or not, the Lord is gonna intervene, right? And he's gonna take the kingdom, as the precept part said. You know, I think I'm gonna end this one there. Yeah, until the next one. Shalom.